Every single time at the gas station, 92nd octane, 95th, diesel. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this choice was forced upon us over a century ago? What if automobiles were originally meant to run on alcohol? Yes, yes, ordinary alcohol that you can distill from sawdust itself. Just imagine the scent of freshly cut grass or apple cider. That's the kind of aroma that could have filled our highways. What I'm about to reveal will completely flip your understanding of the entire history of automotive engineering and the oil age. Picture this scene, 1896, Detroit. In a barn, a mechanic named Henry Ford is putting together his very first quadricycle, and he's filling it up with pure ethanol, not gasoline, alcohol. Honest to God, when I first stumbled across this fact, I thought, mistake. No way this can be true, but it turns out that's exactly how it was. What's more, Ford believed alcohol was the perfect fuel for automobiles right up until his dying day. You know why? The numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. Alcohol's octane rating, over 100 units. That means the engine runs more powerfully, more smoothly, without knocking. The finest gasoline of those days, 70 to 80 units max, like a Formula One car versus a horse cart. But here's the most incredible part, the environment. Exhaust from an alcohol engine is 83% cleaner. Your jaw drops when you realize, way back in 1896, humanity had its chance to dodge the ecological disaster from automobiles. And it all began even earlier. 1826, American inventor Samuel Morey patents the very first internal combustion engine, and it runs on alcohol 70 years before the first mass-produced gasoline cars hit the roads. Talk about irony. Our great-great-grandfathers knew the secret to clean fuel, and here we are still choking on exhaust fumes. Like the old saying goes, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Ford envisioned the future like this. Every farmer can become an oil baron by growing ethanol feedstock right in his own fields. Just imagine it, not oil tycoons ruling the world, but ordinary hard-working farmers. In his grand plan, every single American farmer could grow corn, potatoes, any starch-rich crops, and brew up alcohol right in their own backyard. Energy independence for everyone. No gas stations, no oil cartels. The technology was proven, raw materials, everywhere you looked, environmental impact, infinitely cleaner. Everything was pointing toward alcohol becoming the fuel of the 20th century. But then something went terribly wrong. The crucial turning point, the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Lincoln's government slaps a $2.08 tax per gallon on alcohol, choking the life out of the Southern economy. Meanwhile, John D. Rockefeller seizes his moment, buying up oil companies left and right across the nation, and by 1870, he's controlling 95% of America's energy market. Oil prices plummeted from $18 per barrel, 1859, to 49 cents, 1861. 36 times cheaper. Can you wrap your head around that scale? And he was one shrewd operator. At first, worthless gasoline, just a waste product from kerosene refining. He used it to heat his own factories until he figured out its true goldmine potential for engines. Here's what's happening. Alcohol needs to be grown. A whole year of work, fertilizers, harvesting, distillation. But oil? Just pump it straight out of the ground. Boom, done. But America's not the whole world. What about Europe? Well, they've got their own technology melting pot brewing. France has always been an alcohol powerhouse. Britain's betting everything on coal gas. The Germans, those chemistry wizards, are already cooking up synthetic fuels. And on to this stage step, the Nobel brothers. Yes, those exact same guys who founded the famous prize. Robert Ludwig and Alfred Nobel set their sights on the oil fields of Baku, back then part of the Russian Empire. And they weren't just pumping crude. They built a quality empire. The secret to their success, beyond Baku's black gold, was thermal cracking technology. The process of heating heavy oil fractions to crack them into lighter, more valuable products like gasoline. And who invented this breakthrough? A brilliant Russian engineer, Vladimir Shukov. Shukov's cracking process let the Nobels squeeze out way more high-quality, high-octane gasoline from crude than any of their rivals, Rockefeller included. And now, a moment straight out of a historical thriller. Fall of 1881, Nizhny Novgorod Fair, a meeting that would change everything. The already renowned engineer Gottlieb Daimler, who worked for Otto and Russia's petroleum king, Ludwig Nobel. Mr. Daimler, your alcohol engine's decent enough, but the future belongs to gasoline. My gasoline is pure, powerful, rock solid. Your engines will absolutely fly with this stuff. Your product is truly impressive, Mr. Nobel. Alcohol gets finicky in winter. You might just be onto something. Back in Germany, Daimler teams up with the brilliant Wilhelm Maybach and opens up shop. Together, they unleash a whole lineup of lightweight, powerful, compact gasoline engines. Carl Benz isn't sitting idle either, patenting his own gasoline motor. The automobile industry made its choice, and that choice was gasoline. 1907, the game changer. Gasoline prices in America crashed by a factor of 3. Get this. Farmers are producing alcohol at 25 cents per gallon, while gas station signs read, gasoline, 8 cents. And they fed us this line about fair market competition. Rockefeller was straight up dumping, selling at a loss just to crush the competition. Exactly like today's mega chains strangling mom and pop stores. But let's be brutally honest, ethanol had some real drawbacks for the technology of that era. 20 to 30% less mileage per fill-up, eating away at rubber and metal components, nightmare cold weather starting, engines needed serious modifications. Rockefeller didn't create these headaches. He just brilliantly exploited them in the competitive war. But here's the real kicker. Standard Oil delivered turnkey infrastructure. 1908, over 3,000 Standard Oil stations were already up and running across America. Gorgeous facilities, convenient locations, courteous service. What was the alcohol industry offering? DIY fuel production, DIY engine modifications, DIY problem solving? Which options your average city dweller going to pick? No contest. But the real fireworks were just getting started. Somehow alcohol might have survived the economic warfare, but the political knockout punch, that finished off everyone. And here comes the most heart-wrenching moment. January 16th, 1920. The 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution takes effect. Prohibition. Total ban on producing, selling, and transporting alcohol. You're thinking, what's this got to do with cars? Here's exactly what: industrial alcohol for engines came from the same plants, same workers, same exact processes, all of it lumped together under one giant axe. Try picturing this nightmare. Some farmer in Iowa wants to fuel his tractor with his own home-brewed ethanol. Federal agents come pounding on his door. Hands where we can see them. Illegal booze operation. It's absolutely chilling when you grasp just how massive this catastrophe was. In one single night, they obliterated the entire alcohol fuel industry. Plants shuttered, equipment scrapped, experts scattered to the wind. The devastation is absolutely staggering. Before Prohibition in the USA, 1919, 2,300 ethanol production facilities, 50,000 farmer producers, 12% of vehicles running alternative fuel. After Prohibition, 1921, 47 plants strictly for medical purposes, 1,200 licensed producers, 0.3% of cars on ethanol. In just 2 years, an entire industry got virtually wiped off the map. Want to guess who was aggressively pushing for prohibition? 3 guesses. Bingo. The oil companies. You could say they pulled a fast one on the whole damn country under the banner of fighting demon rum. 1925. Henry Ford sits down for an interview. Prohibition has made alcohol fuel development absolutely impossible. We're being forced into gasoline. 1927. Ford's final plant making alcohol engines shuts its doors forever. When they finally killed Prohibition in 1933, it was way too late. That ship had sailed. Gas stations, wall-to-wall gasoline, engines, built for gas, habits locked in stone. The early bird gets the worm. But history's got a wicked sense of humor. When World War I exploded, 1914 to 1918, Europe suddenly rediscovered alcohol. In Germany, completely cut off from oil imports, something absolutely unprecedented happened. Cars, trucks, even battle tanks were guzzling alcohol distilled from potatoes and sugar beets. The exact same story played out again during World War II, 1941 to 1945. America jumps into the war and, surprise, discovers a critical shortage of high-octane aviation fuel. So what do? Rush to rebuild alcohol production. Throughout the war years, ethanol output in the USA skyrocketed to an absolutely unprecedented 600 million gallons annually. American Mustangs and Thunderbolts were soaring on fuel spiked with that very same alcohol they'd recently written off as yesterday's news. But the second the war ended, right back to dirt-cheap gasoline, like none of it ever happened. The war proved alcohol's incredible value to the entire world, but peacetime economics went crawling back to the easy road. But not every nation just rolled over for oil dependency. In 1973, while the whole planet was getting hammered by the oil crisis, Brazil pulled off something revolutionary: the Pro-Álcool program, a nationwide ethanol production initiative using sugarcane. Starting in 1976, every single drop of gasoline in Brazil contained 10 to 25% ethanol. And in 1979 came an event that should have made every history book. The Fiat 147 became the world's very first mass-market car running on pure 100% ethanol. Today in Brazil, every gas station gives you options: straight gasoline, pure ethanol, or any blend you want. Drivers choose for themselves what to pump based on price and personal preference. Can you believe it? What Henry Ford was dreaming about a century ago, the Brazilians actually made real. If alcohol had crushed gasoline back then, at the dawn of the century, every little village with a basic still would have become its own mini refinery. Farmers would have transformed into petroleum barons, and this stranglehold of centralized supply chains and foreign imports never would have gotten this insane. But history chose a different fork in the road, and here's what we got: energy wars, economic sanctions, geopolitical chess games. You know what's really wild? Today we're watching this exact same drama unfold with electric vehicles. Once again, it's technological revolution, corporate warfare, lobbying battles, Tesla taking on big oil, just like Ford versus Rockefeller 100 years back. If this historical deep dive blew your mind and you picked up something new, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. That's the ultimate reward for all my digging. Draw your own conclusions. But never forget, whoever controls the energy controls the future. And that's the ultimate lesson from this forgotten war between alcohol and gasoline. What do you think? Are we going to repeat history's mistakes? Or will technology finally beat the old power games this time around? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and definitely subscribe to our Telegram channel so you don't miss any more incredible stories. We've got tons more mind-blowing content coming your way.